Hello, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us for another beautiful session. So, our next guest speaker is Emily, and if you want to brand your business, Emily is the go-to person for that. I have been following her on social media for quite some time. I'm a fan of Emily, and I cannot wait for her session. I am ready to take down my notes, and I hope you are too. So without much further ado, I would love us to welcome Emily to take on our session. Hello, Emily. Hello, Emily. Hi.
Hi, um, hi, Heart. Are you talking to
Yeah.
me? Okay, the volume
Hi.
is so low. Please hold on. Let me connect my mic and see if that works. Please hold on.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, I can hear you clearly.
Oh, I can hear you now. I can hear you now.
Okay. So I am truly honored to be your moderator. I've been following you for quite some time on social media. I took some tips from your social media posts on my brand, and I cannot wait for you to start the session. And of course, I am just so happy to have you here. So please, over to you.
Oh, wow. All right. So, hi everybody. Thank you so much, Heart, for having me on your program. I am excited to be here. It's a privilege to be here. So, you want me to start right away? Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. How do I should have sent you this long ago. I need to connect my slides. Do I use those or do you want me to just do without the slides?
Okay. So you can just connect the slide and you can just pick it up on that.
Okay.
Or you can share your slide, the link with us, and we'll just. Okay, guys, just give us a minute while we sort out the slide, and Emily will be back on the live show. Okay, so while we wait for Emily, what are your expectations about her session? Um, in case you have questions, even before she starts her session, you can just start talking questions, and she will take your questions as soon as she's done with her session. I'm sure everyone has topic affects every business, no matter the industry, no matter the niche you find yourself, even in your personal career, you actually need Emily's business to help you out. And she's a master of this, her forte, and I can assure you, if you want to speak out, I can assure you that you will actually get so much from it. So just exercise a bit of patience and we'll be back.
Hello, Shelley.
Welcome back, Emily. Welcome back. Can you hear me?
I can't hear you.
Okay, I said welcome back. Can you hear me now?
No, I can hear you, but it's faint.
Oh, okay, okay, okay. So just go ahead and share the slide with us, and then you can start the session.
Kent has done that. It's,
Okay, okay. So please, can we have Emily's
oh, how
slide
do you want me
up?
to share it here? I'm not familiar with this space you're using. Is it something I can share
Okay,
here?
the slide is coming up.
Okay.
Okay, Emily, please click present, and your slide will be up.
Hello, Shelley.
Yeah, can you hear me? So click present, and
I don't
there's
have
a button.
present on this side of my screen. There's nothing like present on here.
Okay, so can you share us the slide via email? Really apologize for the inconveniences. Just share the slide with us via our email.
Am I struggling to hear you? If you want me to go ahead without the slides,
Okay, you can. So, hello everyone. Please just exercise a bit of patience with us. This will be sorted immediately. Please. Okay, Emily, so you can just begin your session.
hello. Hello.
Yes, so please you can begin. Thank you.
All right. Hi, everybody. So sorry about the in and out, up and down, everything that has happened. All right. So welcome to my session. All right. We're going to be talking about the business of branding. Yeah, on my slide is the business of personal branding, because I'm going to drive that to personal branding. Okay, but yes, the business of branding, whether you are branding a product, a physical product, or you're branding yourself as a product, which is what personal branding is about. So we're going to be looking at that, and hopefully I'll be a blessing to you at the end of all of this. Okay, so yeah, this is a bit about me. My name is Emily Walikoy. I'm the founder of the one and only School of Personal Branding. It's the only school of personal branding in the entire world, and I'm very proud. Like literally, you can tell. I'm an award-winning entrepreneur. I'm a global and international speaker, highly sought after coach. I've been able to do over $200,000. Okay, yeah. From monetizing my gifts, my talents, my experiences, my story, among other achievements. So there's something that's not on my slide that I need us to know about as well. I'm a mom, have 4 kids, so that has to be on this slide because that's something to talk about. All right, so we're diving right into what personal branding is about. Yeah, so I'm a mom and of 4 kids, and I have 1 husband. Right, good. And I plan to have just 1 husband for forever. All right. So the business of personal branding, right? And what is personal branding? This is my definition for personal branding. There are different definitions you're going to find around and about because personal branding is such a big deal. And I like to say personal branding is now a non-negotiable. It's a skill, kind of like a life skill. I was watching a movie today, like a few hours ago, and my husband and I, we always say at each other that we can't swim. If anything ever happens in this life and we're thrown into, water, I guess we're just going to die. We joke about it, but it's not funny because if that really happens, we're not going to survive. So we're watching a movie today, and they were moving prisoners on a plane to another state in America, and the plane crashed. They had to land unplanned, and in that process, the plane was on fire. And long story cut short, the plane actually nosedived into a sea, and they were going to drown. The windows had opened, the doors had been flung open, thanks to the accident. So water was getting into the plane, and they had to move the prisoners out, okay, so that they don't die because they take care of their prisoners there very well. And then we were like, oh my God, look at that. Everybody, and they were throwing them into the water. My husband and I was like, if that was us, we would be dead. Because anytime we watch a movie that has that kind of stuff, we always say we can't swim. So I now said, you see, swimming is a life skill. I said swimming is a skill, just like driving. Then later I said, oh, it's a life skill. And so that's like personal branding. It's now a life skill. It's now a non-negotiable. It's now an essential. Like everybody already has a brand, a personal brand, but everybody needs to pay more attention to cultivate and curate the kind of brand that they really, really want to put out there, because your personal brand is actually how you package and present yourself. It's not just who you are, it's how you package who you are and present that. Okay, because if they leave you and I just the way we are, some of us are not going to make it in this life. So we have to package. All right, we have to package. Like all this grammar that I'm speaking, you probably think I went to Harvard. So that's the packaging. We have learned how to package like that. We did not go to anything close to Harvard. That's what personal branding is. All right, so but on my screen, what you have there, personal branding is a unique promise of value that an individual creates about and around himself or herself that gets the world to pay attention to who they are and what they have to offer. Personal branding is a unique promise of value. It means it's unique. It means it has value. It's not nonsense. It's not fake it till you make it kind of stuff. It has to bring value. Okay? So it's a unique promise of value that a person creates about and around himself or herself that gets the world to pay attention to who they are. Who are you? When somebody asks that question, what will you say about you? That's one. What will somebody else say about you? That's two. Then what will somebody say about you when you are not in the room? That's three. Okay, that's three. So when they ask the question of who you are. When somebody says, who are you? Who are you? They can be asking you, they can be asking somebody else, and the person, and you could be there, but they can be asking somebody else, and you may not be there. As a matter of fact, Jeff Bezos says personal brand, a personal brand is what people say about you when you are not in the room, when you are not at the meeting, when you're not, in that space where people are making a decision, or people are talking about you, where people are trying to think about who they will hire for this job, who they will hire for this project. Your personal brand is what people say about you. So however I got on this talk on virtual event is what somebody said about me. Whoever that person was, that's because my personal brand was in play. And because I've been packaging it and I've been presenting it to the world in such a valuable way so that I get noticed, all right? And people can tell that, okay, she has value. This is what she has to offer. This is who she is. So that's the reason why we're going to be talking about the business of branding, the business of personal branding. So these are 3 things I want you to pay attention to. Unique, value, attention. Okay? Your personal brand has to be unique. Your personal brand has to bring value. Your personal brand has to get you noticed. It has to be unique. That's one thing. It has to be valuable. Like, you have to bring something to the table. We've heard that line over and over and over. You have to bring something to the table. And number 3, it has to get you noticed, because attention is today's currency. On social media, if you're just dry, if you're just drab, if you're just nobody's going to notice you. Nobody's going to give you the job. Nobody's going to give you, your name is not going to be mentioned in rooms filled with global opportunities. Your name will not be mentioned in such places. If your name ever gets mentioned, they're not going to hire you for the job, most likely, except God helps you. So you need to pray. You know how we do in Africa. You need to pray, you need to fast. So, but I would prefer that you are praying and you're fasting, but you're also doing the work. So that the prayer will work well, right? So when your brand is unique, when it has value, and when it gets you noticed, you're going to become influential. You're going to build influence. So influence doesn't come before uniqueness. It doesn't come before value that you bring to the table. It doesn't come before you get noticed. Influence, as a matter of fact, is leadership. So influence is not just unpopular. The kind of influence that I'm talking about is leadership driven. And for you to have that kind of influence, it means you have to lead others. So you're going to lead yourself first, and you're going to lead others. So what does it mean to lead others? It means you've got to stand out. That's uniqueness. It means you've got to bring value to the table. You have to find something that you do well, brand that thing, and put it out there. All right? That's what you're going to do. And then it has to get you noticed, because if you don't bring something that is unique, if you don't bring something that's valuable, if you don't do it in a special way, it could be in a very small way, but it could be such a special way, Yeah, so if you're able to do all of that, then you're going to have the kind of influence that is leadership, is tied to leadership, and not just influence that is noisy. They are 2 different things. We don't want to make noise that is empty. We want to make noise that is relevant. We want to make noise that drives change. We want to make noise that leads people, that inspire people, that impacts people. And that's what personal branding can do for you. You harness personal branding to multiply your impact, your influence, and your income. So influence is what makes your world go round. That's the heart and soul of personal branding right there. If people don't know you, then they don't know you. If people don't talk about you, then they don't talk about you. They don't know you. If your name is not opening doors, if your name is not shaking the world, maybe not the whole world, it should just be a small portion of the world, maybe just your village. It doesn't matter. But it has to be, that's what influence does. You build it to such a point where when you tell people, or when people just hear your name, they answer, they respond. Some people will just hear Emily Walikoya or Emily Speaks Life, and they will be asking, okay, what's she selling today? Let's just buy it. They probably will never even read the book, but because it's Emily Speaks Life, they bought it. So because that's what branding can do for you. It just ties people's emotion to everything that you do. They don't want to use the product, they have no need for the product, but because it's you that is selling it, they want to buy it. And that's why influence is the heart of personal branding. Next slide. So this means when you build your personal brand, you don't just build it because it's in vogue or it's what everybody else is doing. Rather, you build a personal brand for the long term. You know, personal branding is for the long term. It's like your life. Okay, it's like your life. You wake up every day and you hope that you're going to leave today. Yeah, so you wake up every day and you hope that you're going to do something that adds to your brand. It's for the long term. You don't build a brand for the short term. You don't build a brand just everybody's doing it. No, no, no. You have to have a vision for your brand. You need to see the next 10 years. You need to see the next 20 years. You need to see the next 30 years. That's why your brand is you. You breathe it, you're living it, you're talking it, you're thinking it, you are it. So everything that you're doing is your brand. Every time you show up, that's your brand showing up. Every time you speak, that's your brand speaking. Every time you dress up, that's your brand dress. I had to dress up to look like this. You know, I'm not doing dressed up the whole of today. I'm not even had a bad feel. It was time for this program because I had to package and present my personal brand this way so that you guys don't I have to look. It's a lot of work. That's why you have to know exactly what you're doing. You know, it's a lot of work, but work that would pay off. Your personal brand is your number one asset when it comes to business or career. It's not even the degree that you have. It's not even, no, it's not these things. Your personal brand, because your personal brand consists of those things. It consists of your talent, your gift, your passion, your unique personality, your story. So it's so important. It's like a composition of everything that is, even your failures. It's in your personal brand because you're going to use that. That's part of your story. That's part of your uniqueness. So my personal brand, for example, I'm a mom of 4. It's not everybody who teaches personal branding or does a business coach that has 4 children. And I know how I got my 4 children. I know the experience I had with each and every one of them. I could take that story or that part of the story and I could use it to build my personal brand. Right. So when you're building your personal brand, you want to think long term, not short term. It means it's a long, you have to invest in it like the whole 9 yards. You have to go that entire path. All right. Next slide. My slide has become smaller. The screen where the slides have become smaller. Great, thank you. Personal branding is an association, who you walk and talk with. It's important. Who you walk with, who you talk with. Your perception about yourself, who you are, is so important. What you think about yourself, how you think about yourself, what you say about yourself, it's so, so important. Your thought pattern is important. Your confession is important. Your decision and actions are important. What you do, where you go, who you go to the place with, everything that you're doing every single day is all building and coming together to make your brand what it is, for good or for bad. Good brand or bad brand, solid brand or cheap brand. Everything that you're doing, you know, it's all coming together to actually help you build your brand. So what you want to be doing is to build a brand that gets you seen, heard, and paid. It's a brand that is to build a brand that gets you noticed. It's to build a brand that gets you attention for good, for the right reason. And because you're listening to this or watching this, you don't want to just build a brand just stumbling in the dark or, you know, walking in the dark. You want to build it. This is light now that has come to you. So you're hearing these things, and we're just actually getting started about what it is to build a personal brand and how you can actually build it. Next slide. So what comes to your mind when you think about Cristiano Ronaldo? What comes to your mind? Right. What comes to your mind? I'm not sure if I can get feedback on this from you guys because I don't know who's at the other end. I don't see anybody, like number of people on my screen. But if I can get feedback, that'll be fine. But if I can, that's okay. What comes to your mind when you see names like, or you hear names like Cristiano Ronaldo? When you hear names like Emily Walikoya, my name has to be there. Of course, it has to be there. I cannot be talking about other people and I'm not talking about myself. Football. Oh yeah, great. I will. I will like hi. Football. What comes to your mind when you think about Lionel Messi? Football as well. What comes to your mind when you think about Serena Williams? What comes to your mind when you think about Oprah Winfrey? What comes to your mind when you think about Hilda Bassi? You know, the lady that won the Guinness Book um, stuff on the longest cookathon, right? What comes to your mind when you think about Tiger Woods? What comes to your mind when you think about Beyonce? What comes to your mind when you think about Chimamanda Adichie? What comes to your mind when you think about Kim Kardashian? What comes to your mind when you think about Taylor Swift? You know, so Taylor Swift has been making headlines. I've been watching her stuff on CNN and you know, the concert she had, and I was just trying to, I don't even know Taylor Swift well. I don't even know any song that she sang, but I think I do, but I don't know because I must know the song that she sang. I'm sure. I just don't remember. Actually, like, I'm not a fan, so I don't remember. If you ask me of Beyonce now, I know some songs, right? So, but I started thinking, like, what's making this girl, what's making her tick? What's making her so big? Right? I had to start thinking, like, who is this girl? Like Beyonce, I can understand. Beyonce got energy, Beyonce had passion, Beyonce has a great voice, Beyonce can dance, you know. So I'm like, Little Sweet, what's up? What's up, right? So, but it's never my place to judge because there are people that are her fans that will tell you what's up quickly. I have to figure out what's up because I'm not her fan, right? So, but basically, what I'm saying is that when you think about these names, what comes to your mind? Now, these people or these names that you're hearing, they didn't they didn't happen overnight. They didn't become popular overnight. They didn't become global names or names that, you know, the entire world has heard overnight, like most of them, right? They worked at it. They worked at it. So when you're building a personal brand that you want to be juicy, you want to be, to get you noticed, you have to think about the long term. You have to think, you have to go from thinking. Thinking is one thing. So you have to think, and that's a good thing. But you have to go from thinking to acting it out. You have to invest the time, invest the money, invest the thoughts, invest everything that you have, the energy, the creativity. You have to invest. You have to invest so that you become the person, you become the top 10, you be among the top 10. And in the top 10, you are number one. That's what I used to tell myself. Before I started speaking, I thought about it. I used to sing, I used to be in the choir. So I thought about it, yeah. Do I really want to sing for the rest of my life? And I said, no. Okay, what do you want to do? I want to speak. Great. So you want to speak? Okay, great. Do you think you can speak and change the world? My answer was yes. Do you see yourself speaking on stage? My answer was yes. This was me and myself, right? Do you see yourself among the first 1 million people that speak? Yes. 10,000 people that speak? Yes. 100 people that speak? Yes. The top 10? Yes. And then in the top 10, I'm like, I'm number one. You know, that's actually how I got into speaking and coaching because I was convinced that I will make it. Like, Mama, I made it in this life. I will make it in this niche, in this space, in this industry. I will make it. And I'm still convinced that I will. So I'm putting in the work. I'm showing up every day. I'm putting out content. I'm doing all this stuff because that's how you begin to build a personal brand. You don't build a personal brand in the dark. You don't build a personal brand where people don't see you. I'm sorry. Nobody builds a personal brand that way. You have to build a personal brand in the open. Okay? You have to build a personal brand in the open. And the open right now in the world is social media. That's the open that we have. So you have to build a personal brand on social media. We have to know your name. We have to know your face. We have to know you. We have to know what you do. We have to know your story. We have to know where you're coming from. We have to know what makes you tick. We have to know. Sorry, you cannot hide it and build a personal brand. You have to show it. So we have to learn to become visible. We have to learn to take up space. You know, we have to learn to take up space. There is one thing to make noise, but there's another thing to be relevant. So you're taking up space not because you want to be a noisemaker, but you're taking up space because you want to spread a message that is relevant to the world. You believe that you can inspire people with your message. You can inspire people with your story. You can inspire people with your gift. That's why you're taking up space. That's why you're building your personal brand. Right. Okay, next slide, please. So your personal brand consists of your gift, your talent, your expertise, your knowledge, your skills, your story, your everything. It consists of everything that brought you to where you are and what that's taking you to where you're going to. Every piece of knowledge, every experience, every expertise, every story, every up, every down, every passion, everything, you know, that you have is what makes up your personal brand. So you have to be very, very intentional. So you have to know your strengths and you also have to know your weaknesses. Yeah. And you use your strengths, you propel your brand with your strengths, but at the same time, pay attention to your weaknesses. Know where Okay, next slide. So by now you should know the importance of branding, the why, and how you can build a brand, the how. So that's very important. So what I've shared so far is like the why you should build a brand. And now let's talk about the how you can actually build a brand. Next slide. So I'm not going to go into this. I'm not going to go into these. I want to quickly share how you can build a brand, and then we're going to wrap things up there. And then if you have a question, you can actually ask. Okay, next slide. So let's talk about the how you can actually build your personal brand. It's not on my screen, so I'm just going to share with you quickly. The first thing that you want to do, okay, is to extract, all right, your brand. Extract the essence of who you are, what you want to be known for, who you want to be known for. A sorry ass story to $1 million brand story. All right. So some of us, like for example, my sorry ass story is that I grew up in the barracks. I grew up in Ajegunle. My sorry ass story is that my parents never got married. My sorry ass story is that I went to public schools all my life, kind of like, right? My sorry ass story is that I didn't really live with my parents. I lived with aunties, I lived with uncles, I lived with friends, so I didn't really have parental covering. My sorry ass story is that I made a tutu in the university. So I could keep telling myself those things, or I could create a new story about myself, and tell myself really what God has been telling me and what God has said about me. This is why it's important. I don't joke with my relationship with God, because if not Him, I would have my sorry ass story. But with Him, I've been washed clean, I've been called, I've been anointed, and I've been sent to spread His message. Right? Right, great. So you want to create your $1 million brand story. Who really are you aside the failures, aside the sorry ass stuff? Who really are you? What has God said about you? Okay, what are the gifts? Every gift that God has given to us is a good gift. Okay, so you want to look at your gift. What are the things that I have that I can bring to the table? What experiences do I have that can be helpful to somebody else? Everybody has something, and that's the truth. Every one of us has something. So that's what you want to focus on, and that's what you want to begin to put out there. So, like I said, the first thing you want to do is to pay attention, spend some time, do an introspection of yourself, all right, and build a new story. All right, change the narrative. Only you can really change and start the journey to changing the narrative about yourself better than anybody else would do that. Only you, right? You have that power. That's the beauty of personal branding. It's a tool. It gives you it gives you an opportunity to start on a clean slate. It gives you a blank board to rewrite, to start a new story about yourself. A new story about yourself. It's so important. It's a gift. I call it a gift because it helped me get to where I am right now. Because I was given a new slate. I was giving a new board. I was giving a new check to write something new about myself. And so I wrote that I'm the world's greatest speaker and coach. I damned anybody. I damned my color of my skin. I damned the country that I live in or that I'm from. Third world country. I don't have a third world mind. I may be from a third world country, but I don't have a third world mind. I'm a heaven class citizen and a global citizen of that. So I had to rewrite a new thing about myself. I'm Africa's premier personal branding strategist. I didn't need to go to school to get that title. I gave myself that title because I knew that it's just a matter of time. The world will not endorse. The world will come to terms with that fact. My job is to continue to do the work that I need to do to be seen as that person. Yeah. So that's something that you want to really, really pay attention to. So the second thing you want to do is to now design and develop your brand. So the first thing, like I said, is to extract your brand. What makes you who you are? What makes you tick? What's the big deal about you? You want to write these things down, actually. What's the big thing about me? Why am I? You want to look at the attributes you have, the gifts you have. What gifts you have? You want to look at your talent. You want to look at your experiences, past experiences, you from a job, from a marriage, from a relationship, from back there. And how can I use any of this thing? Is there anything here that I can use to be a blessing in the world? Is there anything that I can use to bring value to the world? Is there anything here that I can use to inspire other people? Is there anything here that I can use to share a story to actually make impact in this life? So you want to answer those questions. And then once you do that, I think I mentioned this already. You also want to define, all right, who you are. Who are you? Who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? Why should anybody care about you? So who are you? What do you do? Who do you help? Right? What value do you bring to the world? Why should anybody care about you? So it's important that you answer these questions. You're writing them down. And when you're done, then you actually want to articulate it with a sentence. Emily Wale Koya is a business coach that helps women across the globe build multi-million dollar brands and working God's plan for their lives. That's it. I'll give myself a definition. The same way you define biology, the same way you define everything that has been defined by man, except you. So it's time for you to define you. All right. So it's time for you to extract and define. So the second thing that I said is for you to, let me see, it's in my head, but I'm playing. The second thing that I said is actually for you to design and develop your brand. Okay. So design your brand means you got to make your brand look presentable. You cannot just show up anyhow. People always say, be yourself. Yes, be yourself. But be your best self. Be your progressive self. Be growing. Be getting better. Don't be yourself and be your worst self. You have to really, really know that you are actually at your best right now. Some of us, maybe we cannot know, right? Because we haven't built or developed ourselves enough. So you have to work with a coach. Okay, you have to have a mentor, and that's the person that you can always check with to know if you are actually the best of yourself right now, or there's something more you need to do. Okay, so design your brand. How do you want your brand to look? What colors? And when we say design, we're talking about the aesthetic appeal as well as the internal appeal, the external appeal and the internal appeal, both of them, because everything comes from inside out. Okay, when the out is only on the out, and the inner is messed up, eventually it's going to tell on the outside, on the external. Okay, so design your brand, give your brand a name. What name do you want to go by? It's as simple as starting with that. A name may not be a simple thing to get, yeah, but the simplest thing you want to do when you're building your personal brand is just go by your own native name, your traditional name, your, what do you call that? Your original name, like the name your parents gave you. Okay, and sometimes you may feel like the name doesn't work. It's too long, especially those of us from Africa. Like you have like this African name that's too long. Like when I wanted to use Emily Wale Koya, I wasn't too sure because the names that I knew were very short and they were all Americans. Oprah Winfrey, a very very short name. Beyonce Knowles, they were very short, but my name was just kind of like long, especially because I took my husband's name and this last name Wale Koya. Okay, thank God they are too short. They're two syllable words each. Yeah. So when I was trying to do all that checks and balances, I was like, yeah, this is not so long. I could just use it. Okay, because the person that came closest to someone who was like a mentor or who I could learn from or I could copy was Fela Durotoye. And he was not like a coach back then. He was like a motivational speaker. But of course, remember I shared with you that I wanted to speak. So I used to look at him and pay attention to him. So when I checked his name, I realized that okay, his name was longer than mine, kind of like Fela Durotoye. That was 6. So Emily Wale Koya. Oh, mine was even 7. So I felt like exactly. I felt like mine was even longer. I'm like, oh my god, what do I do? But at the end of the day, I decided to go with it. So your name, if you're not sure of what to do, Emily Speaks Life is my handle. That's not my name, but it's become a brand name, and that's okay. That's fine. But if you're not sure what name to call your brand, you can just use your name. Just go fall back on your name. If you're not sure, then you can ask somebody, a business coach, better still, a personal brand coach, because that's the person that's going to understand. Someone like me, right? Good. So start with your name, get your social media accounts together, get a handle for yourself. It could still be your name or it could be something else, right? And then design your brand if you want to have a logo for your personal brand, because your personal brand is important. Your personal brand is as good as Apple. It's as good as a company. It's as good as, JC said, I am not just a business owner. I am the business. I am a business. That's what he said. I'm not just a business owner. I'm not a business owner. I'm not someone that just owns a business. I am the business. So me as a person, I am the business. So I get paid to speak. I get paid to coach. I get paid for people to read my books. I get paid for people to buy my course. I get paid. So because I am the business, so you are the business. That's why you must take your personal brand seriously. Like, give it your best shot. Give it everything that you have. Wake up to it, sleep on it, think about it, breathe it, talk it, wear it. Go everywhere you go, at work, business place, wherever. Your brand is important. Your brand is an asset. Your brand is precious. It's priceless. It's important. Okay, so the third thing you want to do, so we talked about you extracting your brand, that's stage step 1. And then we talked about you designing and developing your brand. So you're going to put all the logo together, you're going to pick your brand color. You may not be able to do this yourself, so you have to work with a brand designer or a graphic designer. If you don't have any idea how to design, then you have to work with either of these people, right? Good. But if you can, then go ahead and do it. All right, go ahead and do it yourself. So once you're done with that, the next thing you want to do is to deploy your brand. All right, so deploy your brand, and what this means is you're gonna take your brand to market. Okay, so you're gonna have to get out there and begin to put out content. You have to put out content. You have to show up, whether it's a video, whether it's text, whether it's a carousel, whether it's an image. You've got to just go out there and begin to teach. That's what it means to put out content. We're not just saying put nonsense. We're not saying put. When I started, when I knew I was called to teach personal branding, okay, let me leave that part alone because I don't even know who are the other side of my screen. Like I can't see your names, I can see your faces, and so it's better I just shut my mouth up and not share like some personal stuff, right? So, but you don't just want to keep putting out other people's content on your page, because having you, oh, okay, I'm seeing somebody's feedback. All right, so thank you so much. You don't just want to keep putting up people's stuff on your page, okay? Right. You really want to know how to balance it, right? So when I started building my personal brand, let me share this quickly with you. This is not something I probably should share. Okay, I'll move on. I'll move on. But yes. You want to begin to put out content. Sorry, I had to take that back. retract that. You want to start putting out content, and you want to show up every single day as often as you can, with all the magic in the world and all the magic that you possess. Okay, so content that entertains, content that educates. Now we call them edutaining content. So they are both entertaining and educating. We are not dancers, we are not musicians, we are educators, we are creators. We don't have to dance or hold a microphone, but the content should have, some bit of fun. For I mean, I laugh a bit here. Yeah, because of edutainment. I don't just want to keep talking like a professor in a university. So we want to put a little smile on your face. I also want to put a little smile on my face. Right. Okay. So that's what you want to do with your content. You want it to be fun, but you also want it to speak life. You also want it to educate your audience. Okay. Because part of your personal brand, or you building a personal brand, is that you're saying that, hey, I'm a go-to person for this. I'm the authority for this. You may not be saying that from get-go, but that's exactly what you're going to be saying when you start to build your personal brand and pick a particular topic, or an area of expertise that you want to actually brand yourself around. Okay. Right. So once you do that, then you need to deploy your brand. Like I said, begin to put out content. Putting out content is a different ball game now altogether. But I want you to see yourself as the CNN of your brand. Yeah, you're going to see yourself. Your social media is the television of 1975. And you and I all have TV. We all have a media station in our hand. You can't joke with that. You can't joke with that. You have to use that tool to get seen, heard, and paid. You have to use that tool to go from best kept secrets to industry superstar, or rock star, or online rock star. You have to use that tool. Social media, you got to use videos. Some people are going to say they will die if they use videos. You're not going to die. Using video cannot kill, and has never killed anybody. Never. Yeah, I know some of us, yeah, maybe we're just good at using videos. I'm not just good at using videos. I built that good. I developed myself. I used to be the most timid girl in any room, any room, any room. But I became so hungry. I had to build hunger in myself that I want to change the world. I want to be seen and heard. I want people to know that I came, I saw, I conquered. And if I'm going to be this hungry and I want this much, I can't be afraid of showing myself. I got to show myself. So once you put a camera in front of me, I'm like, yes, I want to eat it. But that didn't used to be me. I just shared this with some of you so that you know that you can do it. Okay, but I know some people are still going to say that can never be me. I'm the shyest human being on earth. I can never be bold. I can never use a video. No problem. Use podcast. Use audio. Nobody's going to see your face. Use audio. Let's hear you, because there's power in hearing your voice. Your voice is so powerful. It's so important. You can't continue to hide it. It's wrong for you to hide it. It's a misnomer. It's against the order of things that God has created for your voice not to be heard. So social media, use it to deploy your brand. Videos, use it to deploy your brand. Podcasts, use it to deploy your brand. Text content, text format, text content style, use it to deploy your brand. Some of you can be good storytellers. There's some people on Instagram that are doing amazing jobs. All they do is just tell stories, share the story. That's all they do. They don't teach anything. They don't even teach. We teach, right? They don't even teach. So they found their strength, and they strengthened their strength. You see, they strengthened their strength. So you're going to deploy your brand. You're going to put it to work. It has to work. We have to know that you came and you saw and then you conquered. All right. And then the last thing that I'm going to share, when you build all of this, it's all driving at something. Okay, so the last step is to commercialize your brand, is to monetize your brand. Now we're going to turn that brand into a business. We're going to turn all of this work, all of this social media content, we have to now turn it into a whole business, because you are the business. So now we're going to have to monetize. We're going to create a course if that's what we want to do. We can develop a software if that's what you want to do. You can write a book if that's what you want to do. You can start coaching. You can start consulting if that's what you want to do. So you have to now make this brand work for you, because you've been working for it. You see? It's for the long term. You've been working for it. You've invested in it. You've paid this coach. You've paid this brand designer. You've paid this graphic person. Now we have to monetize. We have to turn this whole thing into a business. So you can speak, for example, and get paid to speak. That's how powerful your brand can be. I see someone on my screen. That's not Grace that was here before, and I can see your name. Is it time?
It's only
Is it
here.
time up?
Yes, it's time. Yes, it's
Oh,
time.
you've appeared here like 2, 3 times, and I've been ignoring you. So all right. Okay. So she says it's time, but I'm sure we can take questions because I was told I can take questions for 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes, because it's 15 minutes that we've been here on my screen. So if you have a question, please feel free to ask. But in a summary, okay, remember you would define your brand, you will extract your brand. You've got to spend some time doing that. What you want to be known for, who you want to be known for, what you want people to come to you for, what area of expertise you want to, begin to function in. All right. And then you're going to design and develop your brand. So you're going to put this thing so that it's in a package, okay, and it's presentable. And then of course you're going to have to deploy your brand. So you're going to have to put it in market, okay, by creating content. And of course the last thing you want to do or is to monetize that brand, is to commercialize it. Okay, you kind of commercialize your brand. And you can actually get better opportunities, job opportunities, even when you build your personal brand. So it may not just be business that you do with your personal brand. It may be work, career growth, and promotion that your personal brand helps you to achieve. Whichever way it goes, you need a personal brand, and it should be a non-negotiable for you. Oh yeah, I'm
Wow.
done.
Thank you so
I
much. Thank you
surrender.
so much. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for the learning. So, anybody who has been here, I want to believe it's really been an amazing time learning with Emily Walikoya. Don't forget, you are your brand and your brand is you. So, anyhow you want people to perceive you, anything you want to get out, it should come from you. She said she's global. So, whether or not anybody is accepting it or not, that is her definition. And it is really working. I mean, she's here, right? Because it's global and it can also work for you. And as we aren't getting questions at the moment, I would be glad to draw the session to a close. And I am very grateful to you, Emily, for your patience because we had technical issues starting, but you're here with us. And
Yeah,
I really appreciate you for that. Thank you so much. Thank you, everyone who stayed
you're
live with
welcome.
us till this time. Please don't go nowhere. The second session is starting now. See you after now. Bye.